Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you some of the journal pages that I've documented in the past, 15, 20 years. And actually this March marks the 10th work anniversary of Abbey, which means it's been 10 years since I started this creative career, and I thought it would be nice to take you down memory lane as we look through some of these pages. These crates contain a mix of planners, daily journals, travel journals, and a lot of the different notebooks that I've used over the years that sort of inform the journey that I am on today. So let's take a look inside and let's get started. I think let's start here. Okay, I see a year. This is 2013. It says make things happen. It's Muji. At the time, I think Muji just opened in the Philippines, and every time I would see these lovely notebooks, I would manage to get one because I wanted to document. Oh, wow. Okay, let's have a look inside. I am a 19-year-old aspiring creative person and entrepreneur. I used to like putting intros, I guess, to every journal because then it's like, hello, this is me. I exist and this is what I do and where I am and what I'm doing. And this was when I was still in university. I remember this was the time where I started to really write about my college life, university life, because I had switched to advertising management and we had a lot of programs and events. And this was the heyday of Instagram. So are you ready for this? January and Instagram. I remember printing all of these, so I would print them. And you can see the Instagram filters. They're so obvious, like Valencia and all that jazz. And I think 2012 was also probably the first time that I made a lot of posts on Instagram. So I loved printing them out and kind of commemorating the days through this format. And I kind of made it like a feed on its own. Every month there was a designated photo recap, which is funny because I think I still do that in a different format these days. We have a lot of songs and lyrics here that I lettered. It did have a lot of these quotable quotes. These are some from books. So in a way, I feel like these are commonplace books because they did have a lot of these like quotes that I would write down. They resonated with me at the time. Like, I really like this one that I wrote. It said, surround yourself with the dreamers and the doers, the believers and thinkers, but most of all, surround yourself with those who see greatness within you, even when you don't see it yourself. These are all university stuff. Competed in contests around the Philippines. This was for Public Relations Society because advertising, I think we won like first runner-up. I think the last one is like when I went to Europe for the first time. So this is really memorable. First trip to Europe. Very meaty journal. Lots of memories. Really, really special memories. Okay, that was 2013. Let's find something a bit recent. I want to show you one of these since they're very chunky. These are not new to you, probably. These are the Hobonichi Techo cousin, 𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑, and this was 2020, the year of the pandemic. Look how chunky they became. So I remember picking these up as a way also to experiment on different journaling techniques. This was 5 years ago. That is crazy to me. Let's look at the January one, January to June. So it's the first half of the year. I did a lot of collage, for sure. That's the reason why it's so chunky. And I remember at this time, I was pretty new to the A5 size and I really wanted to experiment on ways that I could really creatively document my days. And since these had a lot of pages, I think it was just really important to fill them up. And this was actually like the heyday of when I was doing a lot of these big collage elements, and you'll see it here. Wow, 20 things I want to do in 2020. Go hiking. Yeah, that didn't happen. COVID happened. Make journaling a regular self-care activity. Yes. Travel less. Yeah, literally traveled less. But this was really interesting because of the big space. I remember I didn't put the designated entry for every day. So it was more like a scrapbook. Like it was a way to get to know myself. Like these are some travels that I've planned, but we all know that didn't happen. But I also really like just adding little elements like these like postcards to kind of inform the spreads. Oh, we did this before. 2020 Creative Journaling Challenge. I don't know if any of you participated, but if you did, let me know in the comments. So every month, I would put out 20 prompts, and you could choose which ones to journal about. And that was kind of how I used also some of the pages here, like for astrology. You all know I'm a Capricorn, proud Capricorn. I was supposed to write the second book of my hand lettering book, but we weren't able to continue it. But I did like creating these sort of collage elements that really were a creative exercise in itself. I did it analog style, also did it on digital formats, and that's the reason why I do a lot of collage today. More collage, lots of green, and they're very color bound. Wow, this was a lot. I got also a lot of risograph samples, so I incorporated them here. And this was the year I started to do tarot reading. It was my personal project throughout the pandemic to learn how to do tarot reading. I still do tarot reading, so it's been a nice self-care activity for me. Oh, this is me staying home. I think this was like the first week of the lockdown, and you know, where it's like you're kind of getting used to the fact that you have nowhere to go and you're kind of suspended, and it was a weird feeling that I didn't really know how to process at the time. But in essence, a lot of things that I also did with this journal is writing about how I feel and the goals I have. Like 3 goals for June. I think it was a way to keep going at that point because we all didn't know what to do. And I also would write a lot of my astrology because I wanted to kind of see that every month. I just realized this is the only year I had 2 journals where it's like July to December. This one was way thicker. Very thick. But this one I think has a lot more going on inside. Yeah, I kept all of the packaging and whatnot here. Wow. And I think the amount of space here really warrants a lot of things that you can stick on, but in a way that was a bit too tiring for me because then it became this like, oh, I needed to always find bigger stickers to put. I needed to print bigger. The coffee packaging and the tea packaging. I mean, I didn't want to throw them away. Very cute. Oh yeah, this was also the video call era where everyone just called everyone. So I called a lot of my friends in other countries. This was when I launched my Patreon. Yeah, July 2020. This was the mood board I had. Like I wanted to do these like, hello, I'm blah. And that was the original, those were the original tier names, dreamer, maker, artist. I would always go to the studio. So I used to have a studio and I always took photos of me like outfit check and stuff like that. And then this was when I started watching Fleabag, aka one of my favorite shows. And as you can see, like all of the elements that you're seeing, they're huge. This is huge because of the A5 size. Wong Kar-wai, In the Mood for Love, Umbrella Academy. Everything was just super big. I think this will be a stark contrast when you see my smaller journal formats in a bit. Oh wow, oh my gosh, my hair. I was super into this coat because it had a patch that said artist on it. So I super liked wearing it. I was like, every time I wear it, it's like, I'm going to work. And every month, me and Christine of Everyday Explorers Co. Wow, we've been doing this for 5 years. This was when I got my Hobonichi. Imagine getting mail from Japan during the pandemic. That was a very big like, oh my god, it arrived. I got a defect product from Hobonichi, so they sent me the replacement letter. They're like, thank you for your patience. Here's a new notebook for you. Which was nice of them because then I didn't have to pay for a new one. Oh, this was when I got super into this K-drama called Startup, and I was in my biz girl era, I think, because this was also the time I was really running my shop full-time. Show me the money! And then I made a tribute spread for my grandma because she had passed that same year. So yeah, I thought it'd be nice to honor her through this journal spread. This was a very interesting year, to be honest, like my Mad Men era. It is my favorite show and it influenced a lot of how my creativity has been in recent times, so I did write a lot about it. But yeah, that's about it for this journal. It was very, very meaty. So this is The Diarist. It is a journal that I produced and designed and created and sold through my shop back then. I think it launched in 2021. and it's no longer available, but I truly enjoyed working on this because it had been my lifelong dream to create a journal that I designed and conceptualized. And truly through this journal, I was able to figure out how documenting was to me and how it really refined over the years. This is volume 2 already, actually. So I like to put my photo on the cover, or like just like the inside pages, just because. And then it had some prompts and it had some kind of like guides on how you can get started, but it was undated. So this was my, you know, vision board and like words of the year, which I think didn't really match up because I had a very busy and life-changing 2022 because I moved to a new city. Yeah, this was the day that I got my residence permit. It feels silly because I literally had the same experience a month ago when I got my second residence permit and had it renewed. I really love this quote from Matt Haig. It's from his book, The Comfort Book, and I really had to write it here. It says, "Stay for the person you'll become." And I think that is a very timely reminder of the different versions of myself I would meet as I lived in a new city and continue to live in a new city. I remember this was a very fun month because, you know, it's starting to become summer, a lot of sun peeking through the windows, and I went to exhibits, I went to events, I went to Harry's house, and it was nice because you know, when you're in a new city, you get to meet new people and new experiences, and this was one of the months where I really like embraced that part of me. Got to visit San Francisco. It was super nice. I had the best time there. And then for a time, I was also using a lot of Job's December daily, which I really like. So he has these like daily stickers. So for December daily, I used a lot of them, and I kind of worked it around the ephemera that I kept. This was also when I was in the Philippines while visiting here. So you'll see a lot of like Pocofino's, a cafe, 𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑𝚑 you have your own journal. So the one that I wrote here is actually I used my typewriter, and it's from a quote from an article I really like from Ask Polly. So it says, "Life is a series of moments strung in a line. Feel where you are. There's nothing to regret and nothing to dread. Some days you'll feel satisfied and other days you'll feel disillusioned." I needed that today. Super nice. So I thought it would be super important to put it on the cover, as well as this, it's from Traveler's Company. It's a film clapper. It says, "Now let a new story begin." Volume 1. Okay, this is very thick. This journal was the first ever journal I was commissioned to design. This was when my book, The ABCs of Journaling, just came out, and I was commissioned to design a journal of my own. So this is called the ABC Daily Journal, and for a time this was available nationwide in the Philippines. And funnily enough, the reason I made this was I wanted to create my version of the Hobonichi, but without any month. It was 1 to 31, but for 12 months. But you could start at any month of the year. So in a way, it was perpetual. But for example, if the month doesn't have a 31, then you just have an extra page you can use to scrapbook and to journal on. For every opener, for every month, I have a photo of a hand-lettered quote that I did. It was a full production. I think I learned a lot from this process. Like, I painted on them, took photos, and then did the layout for these. So this was the year that I had my book, The ABCs of Journaling, and it's in the top 10 bestseller list in our local bookstore. So I printed that out. And this is actually my publisher, Coco, who is still one of my favorite people up to this day. We have my birthday, 24. Oh, such a young age. I also did a lot of illustration because the paper was really good for that. And ephemera, Jollibee tuna pie, top tier. Wow, a lot of collage and a lot of writing, a lot of thoughts. So it's funny to read this in 2025 So this journal is from 2016, 2017, and I wrote Serenity, drink of choice. So Serenity is a milk tea brand in the Philippines. I got to design stickers for them and a journal. Okinawa 25%. Try 0% next time. So current Abbey always orders Okinawa milk tea 0% sugar. Some things really never change. Little flex at the back. About the artist, this journal truly allowed me to develop a sense of what it was to have a daily journal. I do remember I was falling off the wagon at some point because it just felt like having to write every day wasn't serving me until like how I developed my documenting habits now. As you've seen in the pages of my journals in the past few years, journaling has been a great way to practice my creativity and enhance the way I document my life and document my travels, which is why I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions, or side hustles to the next level. If you're looking for ideas and inspiration to kickstart your journaling habit, I created a class called Everyday Journaling, 5 Creative Ways to Document Your Life. This class will guide you through 5 days of journaling every day to build your habit and to give you the direction that you need to kickstart the habit of documenting your life in any way that you want it. I hope you check it out because it's a great way to get started, especially if you feel overwhelmed with the type of journal you want to use, what you want to document about, how frequent you want your journaling habit to be. So if you'd like to check that out and check out more amazing classes on Skillshare, the first 500 to use my link will get a free month of Skillshare. Thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And now let's look at more journal pages. This one. It's so rusty. I don't know what this is. Is it chalk? Is it powder? It's like, it says on the front, today is God's gift. I'm so scared to open. I feel like it's gonna break. Okay. Ooh, that's nasty. Oh wait, I think I need to scan these. Okay, July 2009. Are you ready to see the cover? Oh my gosh. Private as of July 2009. No entry unless permitted. The owner of this notebook advises you to not read this random notebook, but to adore the creativity put into each freaking page. I already had a DeviantArt at this time. Wow, my Tumblr was also so different. It's thevintageentity.tumblr.com. And my blogspot, you know, all my social media. In fairness to me, I think I already knew that this was my way of like, in case this is lost, you know who owns this notebook? Wow. All the little sediments are going on my dress. Here are some doodles. And I had a random facts about myself. Let's see if they still hold true to this day. I like small handwriting. My mom does not. True, you can ask her about that. Sometimes I still can't understand how and why things happen. Same. Oh my god. I still wonder up to this day. I still wonder whether there is such thing as true love. I read and see a lot of it. Will it happen or come to everyone? Will it even come to me? Underline 3 times, lol. That last statement was like so unhinged. Oh my god. Actually, it's funny that I've been kind of reading through some past entries. Like, I don't read every single part of them, but there's always something about romance. I'm like, I think society is just like putting it out there. This was the first year I got one of those Staedtler fine liners where you have all the colors. So you will see that all the colors look a certain way. And yeah, she liked to draw a lot. Feeling as emo as the mighty rain. Wow, okay. Facebook addiction. This was the first year Facebook came to the Philippines, if I remember correctly. Oh my god, it's the Hannah Montana movie. So funny. This is crazy. Oh, wow. Remember in high school where it's like when you get reassigned, like every quarter in school, we get reassigned to new seats. And it was always a big deal because you're gonna spend most of your school days in that seat with your seatmates and you have to make sure you all get along. This was such a time. Actually, I think this was one of my favorite ones because we all got along, especially like this area. I always like to write also my playlists. I still do. Playlist for the week. Wow. Before the Worst, the script. Ignorance, Paramore. I still listen to these songs. The Good Life, Hannah Montana. It was from the Hannah Montana movie. Pepper Lunch Order. I think this was my first time trying Pepper Lunch. Watch Twilight. Oh, what are these things that fell off? Dream. What is this? It's probably some, yeah, my hands are very powdery actually. It's from all the junk here. We even have a ticket to the World Bazaar Festival. I think these were one of those holiday markets in the Philippines. The Twilight Saga New Moon. What a time indeed. This was in, I think, Trinoma in the north. Oh, we still have an envelope here. Are you ready? This is my prom photo. I photoshopped the background to make it like some vintage. So funny. And then this was the first competition I joined that I won a prize. So these were with my friends, Christina and Joyce. We have Twinings and Swiss Miss. I wonder why I never stuck them in. I mean, yeah. This was truly very memorable. Small but mighty. And literally one for the books. But I have to figure out how to archive this. It's too much. You can see how old it is because of the... Damn, this was truly a time. Truly a time. This is, if I remember correctly, is a Moleskine B5. A Moleskine B5, soft cover. It says, Lettering and Illustration Workbook. This had been really like a repository of my lettering journey. So I did lettering during the first half of my career, and I did a lot of projects encompassing the lettering aspect of my creative work. So here are some lettering drafts, hand lettering. Wow, these are super ancient. Deliverables. IFX journal. This was the journal I showed, the ABC Daily Journal. Back then, there was no Procreate, so I had to letter everything by hand, scan this one by one, and clean it on Photoshop. Oh, these were for freelance work. Wow, these so long ago. This was for a calendar artwork. So freaking over it. What a mood. I think they ended up picking this one. In a way, this also felt like a diary of my lettering journey and my lettering drafts. It's peeling off, but yeah, I think I kept a couple of more of these, but they're really like testaments to my lettering journey. Maybe I'll show you something from the archive. We have 2018. This is 2018. And there used to be a patch there or a sticker that said, why not? I think I took out the plastic. At the time, I was really into combining journaling and planning in a way where it's like a lot of my plans are on here. Like we have check boxes, we have little emoji stickers, and then on the right would be, wow, every journal page I have kept has something about diet and working out, which is crazy because I was always like shaming my body image growing up, and it's been like a taboo that, I don't know, I kind of live with. I did have a thing for like the colors coordinating already. And this was before I was using fountain pens. So we have these like blue, yellow situation, a very pink. What is this? Oh, National Bookstore. Receipt of a book. As usual, we have a lot of quotes. I feel like it's going to be something that is recurring in every journal or planner that I've kept. Needed this reminder. Truly, this is a testament to really experimenting because I really wanted to see how I could develop different visual and like writing skills when it comes to every different size that I get. Oh, this is so nice. This is a note from my brother before I went to New York. So my brother is like 8 years younger than me, so we have really big age gap. So he's really a great person. Happy trip, Achi. I hope you learn a lot from the journey that you are about to take. Here are a few things to accompany you in your journey. Cute. He gave me a really nice sunflower enamel pin, if I remember correctly. Oh. Tiny but mighty blue journal. It says, I am not a dreamer. I am a visionary. I was gifted this by a friend / follower back in the day in Singapore So this is Epigram Books from Singapore. I hand lettered this quote, which I really love. You will either step forward into growth or back into safety. It's by Abraham Maslow. It's so interesting to see like my patterns. I really was a film girly back in the day. Before Letterboxd, I listed my movies like this. This was less deco, more writing. So I would summarize my days like this, depending on what I was going to do or have done. Things I promised to do more of this year. Wow. Cook more, watch more films, videos. Define work hours. I'm still working on that. But it's interesting because you'll see that a lot of them had a lot of these like bullet points, and then there will be some days. I remember this was that journal where it had like random quotes like this. Be tough enough to follow through. I really love that. And she was into it. Like, I had these phases where I don't know what you call this, but it's like I illustrate and I letter what I did. I think this was one of my first forays into that kind of journaling. Weekend ganaps. Holidays, aka no traffic days, are the best. True. And it was really nice because I'm such a visual person, so having them drawn like this was a way to remember them more. And, you know, little things like working, drawing shoes, food, doodles, massage. And at the time, it was really a way for me to really exercise doing lettering regularly. Oh, wow, okay. I'm as surprised as you are for this. Grateful lunch date. She was really into it. I really find these ticket ephemera super such a novelty because it's like every journal I have has at least one ticket. It is like a mix of those written pages and also a mix of the doodles. But I liked it, you know, because there, again, no dates, no pressure. The pages are not super thick and I just needed to remember things by. Speaking of thick, so this is the thickest journal I own. This is my first Hobonichi ever. It's a Hobonichi Techo Spring Edition. So Spring Edition means it starts in April. Hobonichi Techo Spring. I remember getting this with a then friend and we went to Loft and it was my first time seeing this in person. And at the time, I needed to work on a journaling book. So this was technically purchased for research purposes. And then I eventually really liked the format. Oh wow, these are like super vintage pages. Still had a lot of these illustrated ones to kind of balance out the busyness and the collage style. I did a lot of pages where lettering was very much incorporated in the spreads because it was a way for me to, again, use that skill. My book launch of the ABCs of journaling. And this is me with my book there, and it was super nice. I also kept a lot of my letters. Let's see. What else is here? Book events. I was always a speaker at the book events and literary events here in the Philippines. Korea. I didn't have a separate travel journal at the time, so a lot of the ephemera was really kept for this. And my sister was an exchange student for a term, so we went to visit her in Korea. This was the last day of the year, and it's rare that we spend holidays in the Philippines. We always would go abroad for like family trips, but that one year we were back home because my sister was back from Korea. This was a very spontaneous and serendipitous day that I had brunch with my then publisher and still good friend, Coco, and she introduced me to Christine. So, Christine of Everyday Explorers. So, this was our first meet up at Wildflower. And I remember being so nervous because I know like CH is like, oh yeah, she's like really cool. She's a designer. She lives in California. And it's so funny to see this. And like, I think I sent this to her. I was like, look, this was us when we first met. And she's still considered one of my favorite people and biz besties. And I truly appreciate her. And they're both Christine. So I have two amazing Christine friends. Also, back then, I didn't know that you needed a plastic cover for this. So now it's been very dirty and dusty. But someday, this will be in a museum, I think. I really think it will be in a museum someday. last but definitely not the least, I think I need to show this because I think this was where it all started. So story time. My very first journal was this one that I bought from a bookstore. But this is really like dreams, secrets, thoughts, happenings, events, stories, wishes, articles, experiences, all in one. Abbey's journal. So I kept this journal from May 27, 2006 to January 13, 2007 because on my 14th birthday, January 14, 2007, I had a crush on this guy in school, and when I went to school that day, I saw a paper bag on my table. I was like, who's this from? And he was my classmate at the time. I don't know if he still remembers this, but I opened it and I saw this. And at the time, I had no idea who Monet was, who was the painter of these water lilies. And at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, a boy just gave me a notebook. So he gifted me this notebook, which I think was really sweet. And ironically, I think because of this whole journaling thing that I did in high school, I still journal up to this day in a way that it became all of this, and now it's my job. So I don't know if that's like connecting, but I guess it did. So yeah, so this is, I do not remember where exactly he got it, but according to the back packaging, it is from Flame Tree Publishing, and it's from the United Kingdom, which was like, wow, you know, I was in the Philippines, I was like, wow, this is cool. And this is I have not seen this painting in person. This is the Nymphaeas 1908 water lilies, and this is one of Monet's most famous works. The original painting is in l'Orangerie Gallery in Paris, which I've heard of, but I've never been. This was the first time I got into fine art and I found out about Monet's work. So before Van Gogh, I was really into Monet's work. So I like both of their works all the same. Okay, January 14, 2007, ended September 16, 2007. It's also so funny because I like drawing this particular star, only to find out I would go to the university with this star logo. So I studied in De La Salle University, and I like drawing this. I don't know what kind of star is that, but I drew it all the time. I was in my big emo phase because this was high school, and there's this song by the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus called Your Guardian Angel. And then she's crying black tears, you know. And she's listening to her iPod because, you know, music. What is she holding? She's holding a rose and a journal. I feel like I'm bearing my soul with this. But it's cute. My friends did write on it and doodle on it. Still more emo drawings. I had a lot of emo moments. I think one thing that I did realize is that every time I look through my old pages, it still is a bit relevant in a way that, like, the things I write are very mundane. It's like, we're here at blah, oh, where is this? Oh, we're here at Naiya waiting for our 2:30 flight to Japan. And I think it was our first time in Japan. Oh my gosh, little doodles. What is this? Two versions of me. I was super into clothes before. I actually wanted to be a fashion designer, so that kind of checks out with like a lot of the illustrations I did with like clothes and fashion. Oh my gosh. Proof of life in 2007. This was when I was in Hong Kong, I think for the first time, and I was so proud of my digital camera. This was the first ever recorded mirror shot, pre-iPhone days. It's still super mundane, and I can't really pinpoint if anything really changed between this one and how I currently document. It's just maybe now I'm a bit more private. My heart before, my heart now. She was going through it. She was really, really going through it. Wow, how do I even close this? And that, my friends, is my second journal. But I guess I always count it as my first journal because it's the one that with the most sentimental value and was given to me. So that concludes my very comprehensive journal tour over the years. I hope you enjoyed looking through my journal pages as much as I did. I want to say it was a very emotional journey for me to look through a lot of these and see where I am now and where I was before. There are a lot of things that definitely changed, but some things still remain the same, such as the milk tea that I order and the types of films that I like to watch. Well, let me know if you also had an emo phase in your journals, or maybe this is your chance to look through some of your old journals if you still have them. I'd like to thank Skillshare once again for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out my class on Skillshare. I will link everything down below. Let me know which one caught your eye the most from all the journals I've shown you, and thank you so much for watching. Always be creating and take care, everyone. Bye!